Adeline, if that's not my husband, then who is it? I tried to be calm, to think rationally, but Adeline must have picked up on the fear in my tone. Look, I don't know, but try to get out of the house if you can. I'm going to send you my address and I'll explain everything in person. I have to go, I'm sorry. The line went dead. All the while, the hammering continued to escalate. Lydia, unlock this door. I swear if I have to break this damn thing down, I will. Those words sent a chill down my spine. Justin had only raised his voice at me a handful of times in the decade that I'd known him, and none of them were as threatening as that. I stood there momentarily stunned, but a hard kick from the other side of the door was all I needed to spur me to move. I snatched my keys from the bedside table and raced to the window overlooking the front lawn. I hurriedly unlocked it and began to pull. Come on, you damn thing, open, I muttered, a massive surge of adrenaline aiding my efforts. With one final heave, the window gave way, and not a moment too soon. The door began to splinter and crack. A few more hearty blows and it was done for. I didn't have any time to waste. I punched out the screen, watching it tumble onto the shingles below. I took a deep breath before hoisting myself onto the roof. I had one leg out the window when it happened. Whoever or whatever was pretending to be my husband finally managed to get inside. My eyes grew wide as he charged toward me. Lydia, don't do this, I can explain. I didn't want to hear what he had to say. Maybe that was stupid of me. Maybe I should have stayed and talked things out. But in that moment, Adeline's words kept surfacing to the forefront of my mind. Now, I can only pray that I made the right choice. I pulled myself the remainder of the way out and slid down the roof, desperate to escape my pursuer. I yelped as I felt fingernails graze my arm. My heart jackhammered in my chest as I fell onto the grass. I scrambled to my feet, somehow unscathed aside from a few minor scratches, and bolted to my car. I flung open the door, threw myself inside, and jammed the keys into the ignition. Before I peeled out of the driveway, I briefly glanced up. Justin's look-alike was standing in the window, glowering at me. A devastating sense of dread consumed me as our eyes locked. That's what terrified me the most. His eyes. They were burning with rage, but something about them felt wrong. In fact, his entire face looked off, like he was trying to express an intense emotion, but he didn't quite know how. That instantly destroyed any qualms I had about leaving. I slammed the car into reverse and floored it. I briefly looked back as I sped away, and my stomach twisted itself into knots when I did. The window was empty. I was a wreck the whole way to Adeline's. An overwhelming flood of confusion, resentment, and fear swirled within me as the realization sank in. Justin really had cheated on me, and on top of that, he was leaving me for his mistress. It was all too much to process. I flew down the empty streets, tears trickling down my face. How did this happen? Why me? Why couldn't I have normal marital problems like leaving the milk out or arguing over whose turn it was to do the dishes? I didn't ask for any of this, it wasn't fair. Fortunately, I didn't have much time to think about it. Thanks to my erratic driving, I made it to Adeline's place, if you could even call it that, in 10 minutes flat. I quickly parked beside the curb and stepped out. I gazed in bewilderment at the rundown shack as I made my way to the door. The house was tiny compared to ours. Faded yellow paint peeled off the exterior. The shutters clung on for dear life, and empty beer bottles littered the front lawn. I'd be lying if I said it didn't give me a little glint of satisfaction. I took a deep breath as I approached the door. Was I really going through with this? How did I know that Adeline was even telling the truth? Maybe I shouldn't have come. Before I had a chance to mull over any of those thoughts, the door swung open. A young woman, at least 5 years younger than me, stood in the doorway. as much as it pains me to admit it. She was beautiful. Long blonde hair flowed down to her waist and ocean blue eyes stared into mine. She was a stark contrast to me in every way. "Lydia, come in, Smack. I slapped Adeline hard across the face, leaving an angry red imprint on her cheek. "Sorry, knee-jerk reaction." She nodded, staring down at her feet. "No, I deserve that. Come in, we've got a lot to talk about." I obliged, following her lead. The inside of the home wasn't much better than the outside. Empty takeout containers were strewn about the floor, the carpet was stained with God knows what, and the whole place smelled like cigarette smoke. It took everything in me not to throw up. Adeline rushed to the couch, brushing away some stale potato chips from one of the cushions. "Sorry about the mess. You can have a seat if you want." One glance at that food-crusted sofa, and I instantly knew my answer. Thanks, but I think I'll stand." "If you say so." Adeline shrugged, claiming the spot for herself. "I guess I've got some explaining to do, huh?" "You sure as hell do." Adeline again shifted her gaze to the floor before meeting my stare. "Look, I'm really sorry about Justin. I'm not gonna sit here and try to make up some half-assed excuse. I'm a terrible person." I folded my arms across my chest. "You're not wrong. Is he here right now? You're at fault too, but Justin's the one I'm really pissed at." "No, he's at the bar. He said he had some drinking to do." "Lydia, I really am sorry. I know I can't make it up to you, but..." I held up my hand to stop her. "As much as I'd love to berate you and listen to you suck up to me the whole night, that's not why I came. I've got bigger problems to worry about. How did you know about whatever took Justin's place?" Adeline bit her lip, twirling a few strands of hair between her fingers. "So tonight, I went with Justin to get some of his things from y'all's house. He said you usually took a bath around that time, so he was just going to get in and get out before you noticed. But that thing, whatever it is, it met him at the door before he could go inside. I saw them arguing, then Justin walked back to the truck, pale as a ghost. He dropped me back off here without a single word. After I saw that, I knew I had to warn you. I made Justin give me your number and I called you right when I got home." I nodded, soaking in her revelation. "That makes sense. I was wondering how you got my info. But I still have so many questions. What is this thing? And how did it manage to replace my husband? I mean, it's even got the same truck as he does. How is that possible?" Adeline pursed her lips. "I don't know. I wish I had more answers for you. But Lydia, you have to listen to me. Whatever we're dealing with, I don't think it has good intentions. Watch this, it'll prove that I'm telling the truth," she said, pulling up a video on her phone. I leaned in to get a better look. The video was of Justin. He was standing on our front porch, talking to himself. I could tell right away that the one facing the camera was the fake. It was too perfect. All its features were too smooth. I couldn't believe I hadn't noticed it before. The longer I watched, the more uneasy I felt. As the conversation progressed, I could tell that the real Justin was getting heated. There was no audio, but I could see him getting visibly more angry, even with his back turned. Until it happened. The imposter's face began to twist and contort in unnatural ways. It was as if someone was molding clay with an invisible hand. And that's where the video ended. The sight of it disturbed me on a primal level. My stomach churned and my head began to spin. I seriously thought I was going to be sick. That's why I had to tell you. I couldn't just sit by and let that monster hurt ya. A loud pounding against the front door cut Adeline off. Lydia, are you in there? I just want to talk." Adeline and I shared a terrified glance. This couldn't be happening. How had he tracked me down? "Follow me, I'll take you out the back. You parked on the street, right?" Adeline whispered, leaping from the couch. "Yeah, but how do I get around him? Won't he catch me if I make a break for it?" Adeline met my gaze, a fiery determination gleaming in her eyes. "I'll distract him. It's the least I can do." "Good luck," she said, ushering me outside. The door clicked shut before I had a chance to thank her. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and without giving myself time to freak out, I raced to my car. I squeezed my keys with a vice grip as I ran, the world around me devolving into a blur of colors. I didn't even spare a glance at the front porch as I flew past. I was too focused on making it off that property alive. I was mere inches from the safety of my car. I was so close, but then I heard it. "Lydia, why are you running? Come on, don't be like this." I fumbled with the keys and scrambled to hop into my car. Justin 2.0 sprinted toward me at an inhuman speed. Behind him, the door to the house was hanging wide open, and Adeline was nowhere to be found. I hurriedly turned my attention back to the steering wheel. I slammed on the gas, my tires squealing as I sped away. I glanced in the rearview mirror and my heart nearly stopped. The false Justin was standing beneath a street lamp. I don't know if it was my nerves or maybe the poor lighting, but I could have sworn that when I looked back he was smiling. And for a moment I was sure that I saw blood dribbling down his chin.